Howdy, succulents. This week on Star Wars Sucks, we're taking a long look at Young Jedi. Wait a minute, that didn't sound right.
Yeah.
Young Jedi Adventures.
Anyway, let's roll it. All right, well, howdy there, succulents. Welcome to Star Wars Sucks, a non-toxic, low-sodium Star Wars show that doesn't make you feel bad for not knowing that parsecs are a unit of length equal to 3.258 light years and not a measurement of time. So from hardcore fans to the Swarzy curious, this is your Star Wars safe space. And of course, we are the Circle of Nerds, and we love Star Wars, even if we don't always like it. And we don't know everything. We're still learning ourselves. So some of us are hardcore, some of us not so much. So let's meet the team, shall we? From my left to your right, star of stage and screen, it's the sensational Sherry.
Hello, everyone.
And Daddy Lou probably will pick up that reference. Tony, too, as well, maybe. Sensational Sherry. You guys get it?
Yep. Of course.
Yeah, of course you do. And from the Outer Rim territory of Boss-Tween, it's Daddy Louie.
Hello, children.
Rocking the, was it a Hogan pose?
That was the Hogan pose, yeah.
Real American?
Real American.
And hailing from parts unknown, it's Bantha Baloney Tony.
What? Welcome to the galaxy again, everybody.
I don't know. I just thought that Bantha Baloney and Tony, well, if you eat baloney in the Star Wars universe, it's going to come from a Bantha.
But what?
And it rhymes, baloney rhymes with Tony. I couldn't come up with anything else. I can't always come up with nicknames for people. You guys got to do it yourselves. Sometimes.
It's true. I don't know about that one.
So Tony, Bantha Baloney Tony? No?
What's that? I'm good with that.
You sure?
I'm easy.
Good with that.
All right. And I am Tommy D, your more than slightly obnoxious Star Wars know-it-all. So there you go. So what are we doing here? Well,
I have no idea.
We're going to be watching all the canon Star Wars films and TV shows in chronological order, breaking them down, connecting the dots, and maybe even learning a little bit about Star Wars and something about ourselves along the way.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. So disclaimer, there will be spoilers, lots of them. So be prepared for that. Last week, we gave you some homework, and your homework was to watch the Young Jedi Adventures. So we're going to be diving into that. But before we do that, there was a post. I think it's a little bit older, but it's the first time that I've seen it. It was a post from Almeid Ubtahi. I'm sure I'm butchering his name. I apologize if I did. But he plays Dr. Penn Pershing. You've seen him on The Mandalorian, and he's been all over the place. So he is a great actor. But anyway, he posted a picture of him and his son on set, on the Coruscant set. And he said, my son got to work as an extra on set. After kissing him goodnight that night and turning off the light, he said to me, hey, Daddy. I said, yeah, baby. Coruscant is real. I've been there. And then teary-eyed, I said, yes, you have, baby. So best day of my life. Thank you, Star Wars universe. That is good stuff.
That's super cute.
That is good stuff. And that's why we're doing what we're doing, because there's a lot of cool stuff in the Star Wars universe and little connections and things like that. Love it. Love it. All right. So anyway, as we said, this week we're talking about Young Jedi Adventures. It's a Disney Plus and Disney Junior show that follows a group of younglings as they learn to be Jedi Knights during the High Republic era. So it launched May 4th, 2023. It has 25 episodes currently in season 1, and the series takes place 232 BBY and features a 664 years young Yoda. And a quick note on BBY, ABY, for those of you who are new to all of this stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was.
Well, we're going to learn about it together, shall we? So BBY is before the Battle of Yavin. ABY is after the Battle of Yavin, and it is a dating system used for historical galactic events along the Star Wars timeline. The system was first introduced in 1996 in the Star Wars role-playing game, 2nd edition, and was first used in Star Wars canon, oddly enough, in the Star Wars workbook 2nd grade reading. And that came out in 2014. So a lot of us have been using BBY, ABY for a long, long time, but it wasn't made canon until 2014. And it was in a 2nd grade workbook.
Okay,
That's crazy.
Right?
yeah,
That's pretty cool.
So weird.
So the events in Star Wars A New Hope, which came out in 1977, that is considered year 0 on the timeline. Anything happening before that is BBY. Anything happening after is ABY. So you're going to hear us using those terms quite a bit as we continue on with the show. So let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? What's funny?
I'm not using that. Still don't get it.
That's okay.
I'm kidding. I'm joking.
No, it's okay. And if you don't get it, then
No, I get it.
we'll talk about it. We'll break it down, shall we? No, then we shan't. And we'll just
Then we shan't.
then we shan't.
Shan't
All right,
do that.
So, as we said last week, our homework assignment was to watch Young Jedi Adventures, and I don't think we watched all 25 episodes.
No,
we
no.
watched. I don't know, like about 6, 7, 8
Yeah.
ish.
Yeah.
I got through it.
That's about what I got through too.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's cool. So
So
everybody.
the beginning, we get the gist.
Okay. So, and basically the way the show's going to work as we move forward is, again, we're talking about the stories in Star Wars. We're not talking about the behind the scenes politics. We're not talking about producers, directors, film studios. We're not talking about the mouse. We're not talking about anything like that. We're just talking about what's on screen and what we're watching. So, each week, what we're going to do is we're going to go around the room and we're going to have a little discussion about it. And we're going to ask you your light side opinions, which are your pros, your dark side opinions, which are your cons, and then some blast points. And your blast points are going to be anything that was impactful, meaningful, or if you have a hot take on what you watched, then, and this is all opinion based. And if you've got some facts to back up your opinion, then we'll do that. But ultimately what we want is for you, all of our faithful listener, to make your own opinions and come up with your own feelings about Star Wars. So let's get started. Sensational Sherry.
Yeah.
What's your light side opinions on this kids show?
Well, I mean, I think it's a great start for young children to watch. I think it's perfect because it teaches you friendship, it teaches you sharing. It has all the typical kids programming, but I think the story it's cute. I think it's interesting. I didn't know that little kids could just fly around in their own ships. So that was like, wow, she just has her own ship. That's pretty cool.
There seemed to be a lot of poor parenting choices.
There was a lot. It kind of reminded me of Dora, of course, just, out in the woods with a monkey. But
right, just kicking it. Like, where the hell are her parents?
Yeah.
Right.
But other than that, I think it's interesting. I mean, obviously kids aren't going to just be doing that, but
won't they though?
no.
I mean,
I did as a kid.
Would this encourage kids to pick up a stick, pretend it's a lightsaber?
Oh yeah.
And then just leave home to go off on an adventure, like get into a car and just take off with a stranger? Because Nash Durango, I mean, as cool as she is, she's still a stranger. They got into a ship with a stranger and jumped to light speed. Like they didn't.
Sure did.
They didn't just go out of the village. They literally
left the planet.
They left the planet.
And
Sure did.
Yes, they did.
They did.
To be fair, they were instructed by their master to do so.
Yes. And Yoda told them to do it.
It's cool.
Like, yes, go with your feelings and just
with their training lightsabers. They don't even have real. They can't even do any damage.
Well, now, Kai, he's got Yoda's training lightsaber.
Yes,
which I thought was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
I did like the Yoda only because I like you, obviously, and I know Louis loves Yoda. But no, I thought that was very interesting that the whole premise of it, of them learning and going to another temple, and I don't know.
Did you learn anything?
I did not.
Did you learn that friendship was magic and to trust in yourself and your friends?
Oh, yeah. Always trust in your friends. No, don't do that.
So what's the dark side for you?
I don't know.
Really? No cons for this?
I didn't.
It spoke to you.
I liked it. I thought it was fine. I thought for a Star Wars, children's program, it was like all the other children's programs, friendship, teamwork, learning. But I mean, watching it as an adult, I think it's a kid show. I don't know. I don't really have. Yeah, I didn't think too much of it. There was, I guess, some cons were like, well, be safe here, but then go climb a tree by yourself.
Engage with wild beasts.
Yeah.
That can eat your face.
So it was weird because she'll tell them like, oh, well, make sure you're safe, but then you're sending them downstream in lands unknown to some nutmeg tree or whatever that tree was. I can't remember.
Well, to be fair, they did have life vests on. They were wearing life jackets when they were doing the race.
Safety first.
So safety first, even though they went off of a 500-foot waterfall.
No, not the race. When they went
to the top
tree
of
to get the tea.
The tree.
The tea tree,
to
get some tea tree oil.
Nubs.
Yes.
Because he was sick.
Yeah.
But I mean, she just was like, well, be careful. I'll be over here. See you later.
Peace out.
Yeah, just be home before dark. They don't even say that. They don't even say be home before the streetlights come on. It's just like, hey, you know what?
So I think the
potentially a con there.
Yeah, that could be a con.
Your dark side point.
Because what are you doing? Like, shouldn't you go with them? Like, aren't you training them? But they're like what, 9 and 10? That's the premise.
I'm thinking, ish, somewhere around there.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. As Gen X, I was walking to school at 5 by myself across the major street. So
6 years old, stealing cars.
So I wasn't stealing cars, but I was going into weird houses that were empty to get to make forts outside with old furniture that I found.
Wait.
Oh,
you were going into abandoned homes.
Yes.
At 6 years old to play
6,
fort?
7. Yeah.
Get the fuck out.
Not even lying.
What?
Not even lying.
Right.
We pulled a chair out of some random house down the street and put it in our backyard. And no one questioned it. No one was like, where'd you get that chair?
See, nowadays, if you walk into an abandoned house, you're going to get kidnapped and sold into human trafficking, or a meth head is going to kill you for 50 cents.
Yeah.
Or your iPhone.
Well, I guess that's the key thing is, considering this was a long, long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, they didn't have to worry about those safety things anymore. So they were just fuck it, let the kids do it.
There was a lot of kids getting kidnapped in the 70s.
Yeah,
you just didn't know it.
Yeah, you didn't have social media.
We didn't have social media.
But this is before. This is before the 70s. This is like Tony said. This is High Republic era. So everybody was.
We're talking about the show. My bad. Yeah. I thought you were talking.
So, do you have any? Do you have any blast points for this? Anything that like really touched you in some way, or it was impactful to you in some way?
No, I thought the whole interaction with all the children, like with Yoda and him embracing them, I thought that was super cute. I thought that was a good. I don't know. Because it's Yoda.
Everybody loves Yoda.
You know what I mean? It's Yoda.
I mean, yeah, you can't go wrong.
But yeah, that was my take on it.
All
so
right.
I think it's a good starter for parents that want to have their kids watch Star Wars.
Okay, all right. So and there was quite a bit of action. So it wasn't.
There was a lot of action.
A lot of action, and it was Star Wars vibe action. I was really surprised. It was very, very Swarzy throughout. So would you recommend this to fans young and old? Maybe would you recommend this as a starter for even as a new adult fan? Is this something that you would recommend for a new adult fan to watch?
I don't know if I'd say I'd go that far.
Okay.
I think it would be better with people with children. to be honest, because it's not a lot of history. There's a con. I you know how we watch the movies, there's a lot of history behind it. But there's not really history. It's just learning how to be
a better person.
Okay. And yeah.
Believe in yourself.
Yeah. So it's for an adult, no. I mean, I think for children, people with adults, like I know we watch this homework, which is fine.
Sure.
But yeah, I think it should be just probably for, you know, or even grandparents. I mean,
okay.
You know, they have you know, their grandkids and they want to introduce them to Star Wars or something like that.
All right.
I think that would be a good bonding moment to watch with your children.
Now, we only watched a few episodes. Would you finish watching the series? Would you finish going through all 25 episodes?
I don't think so.
No?
I mean, no.
So nice for familiarization, nice to get a little sample taste of it, but you're ready to move on?
I mean, I do like the pirate. I mean, I think he's hilarious.
Yeah, Tabor, right? That's his name, Tabor?
Yeah, he's like, he's kind of my favorite.
Like, I feel like I want to watch it just to see how he progresses. I feel like
that's true.
Like,
if he becomes good,
right? Is he going to have a redemption arc like everybody else in Star Wars,
or is he going to be like Gargamel and just kind of
right? He's just gonna he just has to stay the protagonistic asshole throughout the entire series. I don't know.
All right, so move on.
Okay, moving on. So we're gonna go to Bantha Baloney Tony.
All right,
so off a slice of that Bantha Baloney.
So my thoughts. First off, it's a cute little show. You know, I mean, you know, it's, you know, cute little animation for what it's supposed to be. You know, I think it, you know, for pluses and minuses for new fans to Star Wars. I mean, outside of Yoda, in the 8 episodes that I watched, there is only one thing that was recognizable from other Star Wars things that I've seen, and that was the space slug that attacked their ships at one point. Like, there is not another character that I recognize from anything else I've ever seen. There is not a location that I recognize from anything. There are not creatures I recognize from anything.
So for you, it's all fresh.
Yeah, and that's great. You know, it's fun. Like I said, cute little show, entertaining for the target audience that it's meant for, and that's great. Downsides for me, I guess, and I will preface this by saying that, you know, I do not have children of my own. It has been a long, long, long time since I watched any type of children's programming. I don't know when they started going to these half episodes within the structure.
Yeah, it was like 2 episodes in 1 episode.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more of a recent thing, but I have noticed that other kids shows do that.
Yeah, I read a little bit into this because I was curious, and yeah, it does seem like this is something probably in the last 10 years or so that they've started doing. And for me, that was definitely a downside because it meant that there was no time to really develop anything.
I got you.
To me, this show was very much in the nature of all the cartoons that I'm used to from my days, where, you know, there's not really any carryover between one episode to the next. Like, they finish up and that story is done. We're never going to talk about it again. We're never going to reference it again. You know, outside of just very generic traits of the characters themselves, like Liz being super affinitive to animals. Like, that's something that carries on episode to episode, but like, they're never going to reference what happened in the previous episode in the new one. So for me, that's kind of a downside. But again, for children, that makes sense. Okay, cool.
So no arcs, so no story arcs, no like big character development.
It's an attention span. For children
Exactly.
nowadays. So yeah, I get it.
They're not going to retain that, right? They're not going to retain the arc, the idea of an overarching story, maybe.
Yeah, and that's why it's done.
Right.
That's why they
that makes
changed
sense.
it. Yeah, I don't like it either.
That's totally fair. It just doesn't work for me because I'm 40 years old.
Correct. Correct.
Let's see. I guess, you know, blast points for me. I did find it interesting that, you know, Kai is definitely the main character, and they do a decent job of you know, giving him some key character traits and learning things. The list again, they've developed a couple key traits into her. But I mean, I'm 8 episodes in, and I know nothing about Nubs. Outside of the fact that it's a cute little creature that apparently is strong enough to be able to throw Kai around when he wants to. But outside of that, I know absolutely nothing about this character, which is supposed to be like the third main character of the show. So that's a little disappointing to me.
He's kind of like their Chewbacca.
Yes.
Yeah. He's kind of like their Chewie a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he's voiced by D. Bradley Baker. Like I found that out and I was like, wait, what? And of course, D. Bradley Baker, if you're not aware, easy for you to say, Tommy D. D. Bradley Baker, he is the voice for all of the clone troopers. He is a prolific voice actor. So he is, the guy is just amazing. When I found out that he did the voice of Nubs, who just like, he just kind of,
interesting.
He just Chewbacca's it up a little bit, but yeah. So yeah. I agree with you, Tony. I think I'd like to know a little bit more. Where does he come from? You know what?
Yeah.
You know, I know that they're Poobian.
Yeah, Poobian.
Yeah, I think that's right, Poobian.
Yeah.
The other thing for me, and the reason why I only made it 8 episodes in was because I started a little game with myself. I got a couple of juice boxes as we talked about, and watched, drank those while I enjoyed the show. And the game that I played was okay. So we're 30 seconds in, and we're getting the lesson they need to learn. How quickly is it going to come back? And I swear, in the 8 episodes that I watched, it would happen within 3 minutes. Like, I'm used to like, okay, you get this lesson, and we're gonna get to the end of the episode, or maybe a couple episodes in, and that situation is gonna happen. You got to react and learn from your mistake. And no, it happens 5 minutes in, and I'm just like, oh fuck, time to drink again. And so yeah, 8 episodes later, I was like, fuck, I gotta go to bed. God damn.
So wait a minute.
Hammered and
let me get this straight, just so I'm perfectly clear.
Drinking game.
And just so our listener is perfectly clear. You developed a drinking game out of a children's television program, a children's cartoon, and you turned it into a drinking game.
Yes.
That is correct.
Bless your little heart.
Bless your little heart.
You might need to put the rules out, so that way when new viewers watch it,
let other people enjoy this game as well. Don't keep it all to yourself. I wish that I would have known about this game before I sat down and watched this show.
Same. So Tony, that's your extra credit homework for this week is to develop the rules, and we'll post them on our website so people can play along with us. So circleofnerds.com/the show. We'll put it in the description of this podcast too. So
I can do that.
I love it. That's thinking outside the box,
right?
I kind of love that.
Tony, you're supposed to be the wholesome one. You're supposed to be our rock, our guiding light. And here you are the bad influence.
I don't want to rewatch the show now.
It is what it is. Now I am going to watch all 25 episodes.
Right?
I'm in it to win.
And that was going to be the next point. Like, if you were going to ask me that same question, that would be the answer. That is the reason I would finish watching the show. Okay. It's just to continue the game.
So we need to do like a live watch party.
Oh my God.
The 4 of us need to sit down. We'll maybe we'll stream it live or put it up for our inner circle members. And then we'll just get hammered while we're watching a show that is meant for the 6-year-old set.
Well,
absolutely.
As a mom, you need to sneak those drinks in. So when
you're not wrong.
Mom is watching the show with the kids, you can have your little wine. It's fine. That's okay.
That's fair. All right. So Tony, would you recommend the show to brand new adult fans, maybe people that aren't familiar with Star Wars at all? Is this something that, like, again, our listeners sit down, maybe watch a few episodes? Do you feel that it gave you any familiarization with the High Republic era, or did it just feel like just regular ass Star Wars to you?
Again, without having the background of anything going back that far, it really didn't give me much. Like I said, for me, like there's outside of Yoda himself, there was really no link to anything that I was familiar with.
Okay.
That being said, like again, if there's an adult out there that's interested in getting into Star Wars that has a child, I think it's a great way just to get familiar with the concept, to understand the concept of what Jedi do and the good versus evil and all of that. But beyond that, no.
Okay. That's fair. Thank you, sir. Daddy Louie.
Yeah.
Light side, dark side, and blast points. What you got for us? What are your light side,
dark side, light side? Okay. Like we had kind of talked about very briefly in the beginning. I have nieces I have a niece and a nephew that are in that age range that you would expect to watch a show like this. So I'm familiar with things kind of in that genre that are currently out. There's like a Spider-Man show, like Spidey and Friends or something like that. And it's like, yeah. So there's shows like that, the animation's all the same, big heads, little bodies, that chibi kind of thing. I enjoyed it more than I thought that I was going to enjoy it, to be honest with you. Yeah, I kind of like, I don't have anything bad to say about it. I'm trying to think of like light side, like things that really stuck out with me. I did appreciate that there was a little bit of, like Nubs is a creature that we haven't seen before in Star Wars, like blue teddy bear thing. At least I've never seen it in Star Wars. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a relatively new alien, I guess, that they've created for Star Wars. But aside from that, I appreciated that they've also thrown in other aliens that we are familiar with, like going back to, what was the bad guy's name? The bounty hunter kid, or the
Tabor.
Yeah. Right. So he has that the Gamorrean, who's
little cute baby Gamorrean.
Super cute.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's things like that I appreciated. Obviously Yoda giving him his training lightsaber. That's super cool that's a canon thing. Mm-hmm. So now Yoda, one of the biggest characters in all of Star Wars, has a tie, like a real tie into this show, which I think is great. He's not just a cameo. He literally gave his training lightsaber to this kid. And I would not be surprised if at some point in time in the future, probably the near future, where that kid gets name dropped in a live action or a more adult show, like remember that Jedi named, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, especially now that they've tied him directly into Yoda like that. I mean, I feel like that could be a canon thing later down the line. I really appreciated that.
A lot of people online were talking about, and again, these are people that aren't familiar with the timeline, but people were asking what happens to these characters once Order 66 hits. Chances are they're, depending on, their species, they are probably have died of old age. But I agree with you, Louis. I think that there's definitely some potential to see, our three younglings in something else as adults, even if it's just like a background thing, or maybe we get to see, Kai's adventures. Maybe we'll see him as an older Jedi master or something. But I think, and he's still got Yoda's training saber. I mean,
that would be cool,
right? Cool.
That's like the coolest collectible ever. If you're a fucking youngling and Yoda gives you his training saber,
that's
a training saber that's probably 600 years old. Here you go, use yours because you lost yours. Like, Master Yoda, I lost mine too.
Right.
Throwing away their training sabers.
Yeah, I agree with Louis. He's probably gonna be name drop, hopefully somewhere.
That'd be great.
I saw a piece of art today when just scrolling Facebook, and it was an art piece that somebody had done, and it's the Jedi Temple and the steps that are going like up to the Jedi Temple, and then there's like a few very distinct historical characters that standing on the steps together, taking like almost looks like it's a group shot, right? So there's like Luke and Anakin and Rey and Yoda, Obi-Wan. I'm trying to remember who else was there. The guy from the current video games, the Jedi Survivor games. I don't know.
Cal Kestis?
Cal. Yep. So Cal's on there. And then off to the side is little Nubs with his lightsaber hanging up in there. Oh, Ezra was on there.
And where did you see that?
It was just scrolling Facebook as somebody had done like a piece of artwork. And it was like the Jedi Temple. And, you know, there's a big long staircase that goes up to Jedi Temple. And there's like, it's like a group shot, almost like the all-stars standing together, like on this photo. And one of the Jedi in the photo was Nubs. And, you know, he's obviously the smallest one out of all of them. So
I want him to grow to be like a 9 foot tall, like making Chewbacca
Wampa-looking beast,
like a gigantic with tusks or something. But yeah, that his particular species was created for the show, so we've never seen this before.
Right.
So that's pretty cool.
Like a freaking Care Bear,
right?
Like,
yeah.
That's what. As soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, he's like a Care Bear. Like that's what he looks like.
And that's your jam too, right? I mean, you like the monsters.
But he's a baby. So.
Well, right now he is, but I mean, you know, a baby can grow up.
Oh my god. It doesn't look like what he looks like now. I don't see him getting too much bigger.
No,
to be honest,
like Ewok size, maybe.
Yeah,
like Ewok size. Yeah,
because he's too cute.
No, that's fair.
He's just too
that's
cute.
fair.
And I think there was like Twi'leeks in there too, right? Wasn't one of them a Twi'leek? One of the younglings.
I don't
kind of reminds me of one, but I don't think she was.
Oh no.
They were like in the background with the kids. I could have swore, but I could be wrong.
There might have been, like, you mean like one of the background younglings?
Yeah, one of the background younglings.
I don't know. List was Pantoran. Is that what it is? Yeah, and we've seen them pop up before. George Lucas played one of those. He was in. Oh my god. I want to say he was in episode 2, and he was like a diplomat. And I believe that they did feature heavily in the Clone Wars. I think the first couple of seasons of the Clone Wars. I think there was some stuff where they went to like a snow planet and they were there. It might have been their planet, Tenu. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, we've seen them. They've featured heavily. I can talk. I can English. I promise. I can English. So Louis, anything impactful for you? Anything that like hit your insides just right, or do you have a hot?
I think it's got to be the lightsaber, the Yoda lightsaber. That was crazy cool. And
you being a Yoda fanboy, I mean, you love Yoda.
Yeah, Yoda's my favorite character for sure. Right. So seeing that was really cool.
Were you a little jelly? Were you a little bit jelly?
A little jealous, but I gotta say, like, that was really like that. The way that episode ended. And to like what Tony had said about how the episodes are kind of like 2 stories in one episode. And that, if I remember correctly, that was the first story of the first episode. Really the way that ended made me want to keep watching. But then by the end of the second episode, I was kind of digging it. Like I was kind of into it. And I didn't feel myself. I didn't feel like I was forcing myself to watch it, right? Like when I first sat down, I was like, oh, we're doing the show. I got to sit down and watch this kid's show. And then the end of the episode happened. I was like, oh, crap. Like, that's pretty cool, right? Let me watch the second one. And by the end of the second one, like I said, I was like, all right, these kids are kind of cool.
Right.
I want to meet these kids.
All
right. As far as like dark side stuff, kind of to Sherry's point, like some of this stuff is like extremely unbelievable. Like episode, like the first, I think it was the first or second episode. Nubs gets hit in the face with like some noodles, and he like gets taken out for like the whole fight because he got hit in the face with like some noodles. It's like, so you're a Jedi in training, and some noodles are gonna take you out. Like, come on, man. Like,
maybe he was.
And it was like the whole second half of the episode. He's like, these noodles are on my face.
Maybe he was embarrassed. Maybe he was dealing with some things, Louis.
No, because then he was like trying to like eat them like off his face. He was, trying to like suck the noodles into his mouth.
He was getting his grub on. I mean, can that guy?
Come on.
He does.
And then the main Jedi that's kind of like their master, like the female. I can't think of her name.
Dia.
Yeah, she is just a terrible Jedi. Like she's just like
Guardian or Jedi.
Like, yeah, sure.
Like I can see her like pulling like a Karen at the grocery store. Like she's in line at the grocery store getting the blue milk for the things, and she's all sweet and kind in the beginning, and then somebody like cuts her off in line, and all of a sudden she goes like full like.
Well, but think about it though. It's like most like when you're in a situation like that where you're watching people's kids or you're
That's true.
But they don't have parents. They've been kidnapped. Like all of the younglings have been. They've either been kidnapped, they've been bought and purchased by the Jedi Temple, or they've been found. So they don't have parents to complain about the treatment,
their
or
parents are living
if they go missing, or if they're flying around with tweens in their hot rod ships
and going to
other star systems,
pirate space
pirate
stations.
lairs. Yeah,
they went to a pirate lair,
right,
with adults
and just chilled. They were just kicking it in the pirate lair with grown pirates.
So you're right, Louis. That's totally.
Yeah.
Come on.
She's a terrible Jedi.
Okay, well, they all are, because Yoda's letting him do it too.
Yeah,
Yoda's like, go across the galaxy.
Yeah. Go get me some peanuts.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
right. The seeds. Go get me some sunflower seeds.
I thought for sure that when they brought those seeds back,
that he was going to eat them.
He was going to be like, favorite snack these are.
I did too.
I totally thought that they were going on this potentially hazardous, deadly mission.
Yeah.
To get Yoda some snacks for the festival.
Some snacks for the festival. This is so important. No, it's not.
Yeah, I personally like I thought about the timeline for this. Don't get me wrong. Like there's a part that you just have to ignore common sense because it's a kid's show, and like none of these adventures would happen if they properly took care of these kids. That being said, like for me, it was kind of this kind of makes sense as to why the fuck they let Anakin get so far down his path without doing shit to stop him. So okay, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, you are not wrong.
But you know what? It's the Force taking care of them. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's it. The galactic cheat code for everything is the Force.
And speaking of the Force, I know that they were only using it as like a part of the story or whatever. Like, don't take advantage of your
personal
like whatever. Yeah, but the episode, which episode was it? When they were doing the race, right? Mm-hmm. And they decided, and the Jedi, the younglings, had to help, but they couldn't use the Force to help or whatever. I get that, like, friendship, teamwork makes the dream work, right? But come on, what universe?
I'd be using the Force.
I shouldn't say what universe, but when have we ever known the Jedi to not just go, whoop, yep, that's in my way. Like, let's just move that out of the way.
I agree. When the what is it, Team Crimson Phoenix,
whatever,
and then the bully, when both skiffs were stuck in
why couldn't they just lift them both up at the same time? Come on,
they could have at least used the Force to do that, but instead they tied a cable between the two, and their little bodies these two skiffs that
let's work together, but we're going to double the weight that we're trying to pull, so it should negate it. Shouldn't be able to do anything. But okay, it's the power of teamwork. We're going to make it work.
Well, it may be a low gravity planet. And of course, both of the skiffs do have repulsor lifts. So they, I got nothing. No. So Daddy Louie, is this something that you would recommend to a new fan or an adult, we're talking about adults because obviously children should not be listening to our show unless you, of course, are one of those Jedi caretakers and you don't watch the children properly.
And they're just on their iPads.
Right.
Yeah. So I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it to someone that's never been exposed to Star Wars before. But if you're a Star Wars fan already and you're out there and you've like seen all the Star Wars stuff except this, go watch it. It's fun and it's like worth at least the first couple episodes to at least familiarize yourself. I like Tony said, like, okay, we're X amount of episodes in and we haven't learned about Nubs. What if there's an episode in there where we do? I kind of want to see it. I kind of want to learn about Nubs, you know, just after watching the first couple episodes of the season, like, that's a cool looking character and maybe there's some history there. And again, these are characters that I want to see in live action stuff. You know, like, I don't know when the Acolyte takes place. Does anybody know, like the Acolyte where?
It's High Republic era.
So is it around the same time that this would be happening? Because if that's true, there's possibility of characters. You see what I'm saying? Like, I mentioned earlier, I would not be surprised if we saw some of these characters portrayed in a video game, at least name dropped, you know, as a little nod in there for people who know.
So the Acolyte is 100 years prior to episode 1.
Right. So that's
what, 132 BBY?
Right. So this is before that.
And this show is
232. Yeah, this is 232.
So it's very possible that some of these characters could be adults in the Acolyte.
They would be very old. They would be 100 years old.
Well, I mean, some species.
Nubs could be.
Nubs, right.
Yeah. But even, I mean, even the oh my goodness, what's the main character's name now?
Of what?
Kai Brightstar.
He could be.
He could be.
I mean,
because we don't know, even though, and this is the thing about Star Wars too, the beautiful thing about Star Wars, just because someone looks human.
Well, they're humanoid.
They're not from Earth. They don't have an Earth lifespan.
Correct.
Necessarily. I mean, because like when we see Obi-Wan Kenobi, like when we see him in A New Hope, you know, versus seeing him in the Clone Wars, that's like 18 years. And my dude, he aged
horribly.
Listen,
I mean, it's those twin sons, right?
He had a hard, Anakin fucked him up.
Took his toll emotionally. And he was and Obi-Wan was working in that fish processing plant. That couldn't have been easy. That's hard.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So that's hard labor. But yeah, 18 years he spends on Tatooine and he is looking rough by the time we see him in A New Hope.
So I actually have my own kind of headcanon for this.
Okay.
And it's that the more any Jedi uses the Force, the more like it deteriorates their natural life force.
So it drains them. It puts a strain on their.
You think so?
On their body. Oh, that's interesting. I like that.
But I don't know because that's part of their DNA. They're midichlorians, right?
And the Force does sustain us. The Force binds us, penetrates us. It sustains us. But that's an interesting theory, though. Could it drain you?
You know what? I don't. Not the light. Not the light.
To me, like, I know that this goes to a movie that some of us are not big fans of, but I know Louis are. Like the way that Luke dies at the end of Last Jedi, like he's doing something very extreme with the Force.
Yeah,
and like he's not a particularly old man at that time. But he does that one thing, and don't get me wrong, it's an incredible fucking thing. Yeah, but he does that one thing, and that's it. He is done.
I wonder.
Well, I mean, if you think,
was he tapping into the dark side to do it?
No, I don't think so. Not at that time. Sure? I don't think so. I don't think Luke was tapping into the dark side at that time. Luke has always been kind of lauded as the most powerful light side Jedi in Star Wars canon. So
I got you.
But, so it's like people are like, well, peak Anakin versus peak Luke.
No,
you know,
that's a different.
I don't know. I mean, that's a debate that's going to be as old as time, but I don't think that.
I've not heard of that debate, actually.
You know what? Maybe, maybe he used up like all his midichlorians. Because like Darth Vader was just straight up born from midichlorians.
Yeah.
So
allegedly,
maybe you. Okay, well, she said there was no dad.
Maybe she was just embarrassed. Maybe it was Watto, and she didn't want to. She didn't want to put her business out there. That's embarrassing. She got drunk. Watto took advantage.
Her slave master.
I mean, I don't know.
But
that's a good take.
Maybe it goes off of that.
Maybe
like how many you have, because allegedly everyone has them, but they don't have the Force.
Yes.
So that means
everyone has midichlorians.
The higher count is more Force, right?
Right. Well, they're trying to retcon it a little bit here and there. They're trying to adjust it because they won't even say midichlorians anymore. They do M count. Your M count now. I mean, it's still midichlorians. It's fine.
Still midichlorians.
Still midichlorians, yeah. But they're just trying to.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't know, because there was such a backlash about that, but.
Or maybe Luke was just tired.
He might have. And he was like,
tired. "Listen, this is my last hurrah, and I'm out."
I mean,
I agree with Tony. I think it was.
I don't think there's a right or wrong. To me, this was just always the way that I interpreted it in my head.
I think that's a good interpretation.
And I don't care.
I mean, I've always interpreted it that way as well. Like he literally drained the last of what he had left. And I mean, hey guys, I'm just throwing this out there. There is supposedly an Obi-Wan season 2 in the works. How cool would it be if we saw him do something that would explain the aging?
Yes.
Oh,
sure.
I mean, I wouldn't put that past Filoni to do something that actually signifies, you know, maybe, yeah.
But
could be cool.
So Luke, that in my opinion, one of the most badass scenes in all of Star Wars, whether you love that movie or you hate it, when the fact that he did that across space-time, first of all,
that was badass,
because it used to be badass that Darth Vader choked out Admiral Ozzel over TV. You know, I mean, it's like,
right.
But Luke did this thing, and then he brushed the dirt off his shoulder.
Like he was
the dirt that wasn't even there. He just did that just to taunt Kylo Ren. And you know what? You say what you want about, you know, farm boy Luke, pick up some power converters at Taji's Station.
Yeah, he was a wuss, but
sure.
I mean, obviously he turned badass. So.
You say what you want about him hiding and like leaving the Jedi path, but I get anyway. We'll talk about that once we get to that film. Yeah. But he brushed the dirt off his motherfucking shoulder.
I didn't even know
he wasn't at me, bro. Right?
I didn't either. I didn't either.
It was like the sixth.
Of course, watching it again, you notice the things like. When his foot moves, the salt doesn't move. Right. His lightsaber is not green; it's blue. Like,
but I've only seen his haircut.
Once. He had his farm boy haircut.
Oh, right. His hair was cut too. Yeah, it was different.
But you're not thinking about that. You're just like, holy fuck! Here's Luke. He's gonna bring some balance to the Force. Oh my god!
So good.
That's good.
I don't know if I could find it anymore because it was a long time ago at this point. But I do remember seeing the clip that somebody put together where. Right at that point where he goes to brush the dirt off his shoulder, all of a sudden that Jay-Z song kicks in.
Yes.
I was like, yes.
I love it. All right. Let's move on to homework. It's homework time, y'all. Homework time. So this is your homework assignment for next week. And this is going to be very specific. So your homework assignment for next week is to watch Tales of the Jedi. If you haven't already, episode 2, 3, and 1 in that order. Listeners, viewers, same thing for you. If you haven't watched Tales of the Jedi, watch it episode 2, 3, and 1 in that order specifically. Okay. And there's a method to that madness, and we'll discuss that
next
week as we get into it. So
okay.
Those are the episodes with Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Don't say it.
So why are we doing this? It's because Star Wars jumps around. When things are released, things aren't released in chronological order. They're just released. So the whole point of this podcast is that we're watching these things in order in the hope that not only are you going to learn some things, but you're going to develop a deeper connection with these characters because, you're seeing this character do this thing in this film, but then there's all this other backstory that they did in this TV show. You know, like the relationship between Ahsoka and Luke and Anakin. You know, why do you care? You know, why should you care? You know, all these things. So I think by the time we get deeper into, you know, the Star Wars franchise, the hope is that you will start to develop a more emotional attachment. And then by the time you see certain things, by the time you see, you know, spoiler alert, by the time you see the battle between Ahsoka and Anakin, it's going to punch you in the chest, you know, and at this point, it's not going to do that. If you were to just watch it now, it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. You know, the relationship between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Maul, you know, that is that's a spanning, far-reaching relationship. But why do we care? We're going to help you get along. So, all right. Before we do our pimping out, does anybody have anything else they'd like to say? Anything interesting that they saw? Anything that they felt?
No.
All right.
I'm looking forward to this next round.
Yeah.
All right. So again, homework, Tales of the Jedi, episode 2, 3, and 1 in that order. And now it is time for our obligatory pimping. So please check us out on all social media at the SWS Show. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast and our YouTube channel, which is also at the SWS Show over on YouTube. If you'd like to get some of this merch, head on over to circlenerds.com/merch. And if you'd like to know what's coming up next and follow our roadmap, you can check out the timeline, which is going to be in the show description if I remember to put it there. Or you can head on over to the SWS website. So that's going to be circleofnerds.com/the SWS Show. So as always, thank you so much for tuning in this week. We really appreciate you taking the time. And as always, my little succulents, if nobody does anything nice for you, do something nice to yourself. And we're going to see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.